Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Anat Pranams. Thank you very much for joining in for our Ramayana study session. We are continuing with Sundarakand. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So thank you for joining in. Welcome all of you for the Ramayana study session. We are on a very interesting section of the Ramayana. This is we are discussing the wonderful pastimes of how Hanumanji is meeting Sita Devi. And what does he say? Janani ham Ramaduta Hanuman. So he says, I am the Ramaduta. Like that, he introduces himself to Sita Devi. Right? He does not come in front of Sita Devi, nor does he introduce himself. But what does he do? He sings the glories of Lord Ram. Right? In that way, when Sita Devi hears the glories of Lord Ram, she understands that somebody from Lord Ram's team is now here to rescue me. So like in that way, there is a wonderful loving exchange between Mother Sita and Hanumanji. And when Hanumanji actually shows the ring that Lord Ram has given, and when that he shows it to Sita Devi gets overjoyed. Right? Her complete despondency changes into happiness when she actually sees the ring that Hanumanji shows of Lord Ram. So let's continue reading here. What is the conversation that happens between Hanumanji and Sita Devi as they as Hanumanji shows after glorifying Lord Ram and his entire dynasty until the abduction of Sita, and then Sita Devi is looking who is the one who is singing the glories of Lord Ram. There she finds this monkey actually holding the ring of Lord Ram, and she gets overjoyed. So that's where we ended yesterday. So let's continue now. Okay, anyone wants to read can raise your hands. Hanuman showed her the ring Rama had given him. He handed it to Sita and she immediately recognized it. She was now convinced by Hanuman. Standing up in excitement, she felt unlimited joy. Her eyes shed tears of happiness and her face shone brightly. She praised Hanuman. You've achieved a great feat in crossing the wide ocean and entering this fortified city. Oh, noble monkey, surely you are the foremost of Lord Ram's servants. Okay, Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead. She wondered why Rama herself had not come there from there.
Hare Krishna, बताइए दंडवत प्रणाम.
Oh, okay, 1 second. Yes, Prabhu.
Sita wondered why Rama himself had not come here. Why had he not smashed the city of Lanka
Welcome to
and
Sita
taken her
Time.
back?
You are ready to rock.
Bluetooth mode.
Was he still strong in mind and body? Was Lakshman well? Sita questioned Hanuman eagerly, and the monkey replied, Rama does not know your exact whereabouts, O godly lady, but he is well and awaiting news of you. As soon as he hears my report, he will come here with his army and rid the world of Rakshas. There can be no doubt whatsoever. Hanuman assured Sita that Rama was always thinking of her. Indeed, his mind was distracted by grief due to her separation. He could not eat properly and hardly slept. Rama sat for long periods, gazing into the distance, sighing heavily. He would not even brush from his body gnats and mosquitoes. His body gnats and mosquitoes, oblivious to everything as he thought of Sita. From time to time, he would call her out her name and shed tears. Sita felt simultaneous joy and grief as she heard of her husband and his own grief for her. She sat lost in thought of Rama for some time, looking like the bright moon seen even did seen through a veil of clouds. The monkey's words were like nectar mixed with poison. She could not tolerate hearing of Rama's sorrow. Her beautiful eyelids, with her long black lashes, fluttered as she blinked away her tears. She spoke to Hanuman, who sat with his palms folded and had bowed. O valiant monkey, you must quickly bring Rama. Only a short time remains till the merciless Ravana will have me killed. The demon will not heed the demon will not the
Heed any
demon
good
will not heed
advice?
any good advice and is bent on bringing about his own destruction, had as he is in the grip of death. Sita told Hanuman that she had heard how Ravana's brother and minister Bibhishan had repeatedly exhorted the demon king to return Sita. He and other wise Rakshas warned Ravana that keeping Sita would result in any annihilation of Rakshas, but Ravana would not listen. Sita had heard this from Bibhishan's wife, who had befriended the princess.
Hare
The
Krishna.
princess.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam.
Hare Krishna.
So this is Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi, right? So nobody will heed to good counsel if they are bound to bring about their own destruction. So that was what was Ravana's state of mind, because he was so much absorbed in sense gratification, so much absorbed that he could not take heed of the good words of his own wife Mandodari. He could not take heed of the words of his own brother Vibhishana, right? So in this way he had all the good counsel possible, but then what happened, he was not willing to take anybody's words. That's why Vinashakali. That means if our destruction is very much standing in front of us, we will not pay heed to good advice, right? So in our life also we should be very careful that we are always taking heed of good advice given by sadhus, given by Vaishnavas, given by our gurus. If we don't pay heed to good advice, then we are actually moving towards destruction, like that. Okay, let me share my screen again. So now Sita Devi is actually asking Hanumanji to bring Lord Ram. Now Hanumanji will suggest that Sita Devi sit on his shoulders and and I will take you back to where Lord Ram is there in Kishkinta, right? But Sita Devi would say that it is the glory of Lord Ram to personally come and rescue me from this after killing the this Rakshasa, Ravana, like that. Okay, so let's move ahead and read. Okay, Shri Priya Mataji, please read. When he heard that,
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Hare Krishna.
When he heard the when he heard that Sita's life was threatened, Hanuman became alarmed. He spoke urgently. Let me take you from this place immediately, O princess of Mithila. You may climb upon my back, and I shall leap across the sea with ease. Do not be fearful. I could easily carry the whole of Lanka, Ravana, and all. Therefore, mount upon my back, and I shall transport you to Rama's presence this very day. Sita looked at Hanuman, who still appeared as normal monkey, less than half her size. She spoke in surprise. Your proposal is surely quite monkey-like, oh gallant one. How shall I even get on your back? Hanuman was piqued. He was the first time. This was the first time his strength and power had been questioned. Obviously, Sita was not aware of his abilities. He needed to give her a demonstration. Hanuman began to expand his body, growing up to a huge size. He looked down at Sita and said, I have the capacity to lift up this entire island with its hills, woodlands, lakes, city, defensive walls, and very lord of Lanka, Ravana himself. Be done with your hesitation, O princess, and allow me to carry you to Rama. Sita gazed up in amazement at Hanuman, who stood before her like a tawny mountain. She was reassured of his ability, but was still doubtful about traveling on his back. She said, You are like the wind god himself, dear monkey. When you fly with great speed, it will be difficult for me to hold fast to you. The force of your flight will likely render me unconscious. I will then fall into the ocean, only to be devoured by the fierce aquatics. Sita also feared that Hanuman would not be able to leave Lanka with her. The Rakshasas would spot them and give chase. They were capable of they are capable of fighting in air with powerful weapons, and Hanuman would be hard pressed to retaliate as he flew with Sita on his back. Sita explained that there were still other reasons why Sita would not take up Hanuman's offer. I have vowed never to touch the body of any man other than Rama. I am already mortified due to being grasped by the sinful Ravana. I could not voluntarily touch another man, nor could I allow anyone other than Rama to rescue me, thereby diminishing Rama's fame. I therefore prefer to wait for my Lord, confident that he will soon arrive. Hanuman nodded in assent to Sita's words. She was right. It would not be possible for her to cling to him while he flew swiftly back, and he respected her chastity, which was without comparison in the world. Resuming his normal size, he said, I shall now go back to Rama. Please give me some token so that he will know that I have actually met with you. Sita replied to him in a voice choked with tears, You may give him this token in the form of a message. Remind him of the time when we lived together on the Chitrakoot mountain and how I was once attacked by a crow and Rama gave me protection. Sita told Hanuman in detail about the incident. The crow in question was Indra's son, and he had wanted to witness Rama's prowess. He had attacked Sita, whereupon Rama had thrown a blade of grass at him, imbuing it with the power of the Brahmastra. The empowered grass had chased the crow across the universe and finally destroyed one of his eyes. Rama would remember that incident and know that only Sita could have recalled it. Hanuman asked if Sita had any message for Rama. The princess replied, You should report to Rama a wreck condition. Although I have the invincible Rama as my protector, I now appear like one forlorn. He should lose no time in rescuing me. He is capable of advancing against the entire host of gods and demons united together. What to speak of Ravana? Sita took from her cloth a brilliant celestial gem which she had used to decorate her hair. Handing the yellow jewel to Hanuman, she said, Give this gem to Rama and say to him, even as Vishnu rescued the goddess Earth from the depth of ocean, you should descend into the midst of Rakshasas and save me. O monkey, deliver this message to my lord. Hanuman took the jewel and bowed low to Sita. It was time to leave, but he wanted first to test the Rakshas's strength. Now that he had actually penetrated into Lanka, he saw his opportunity. If he could incite the Rakshasas to fight with him, it would give him some idea of their force and power. Besides that, Hanuman wanted to do some damage to the demon forces before he left. Thinking in this way, Hanuman, still in the vast form, began, sorry, began ripening up the trees and bushes in the garden. He tore down the walls and archways and hurled them into the ponds, moving like a tempest and roaring all the while. The Vanara created havoc in the grove. He took up a huge iron bar and stood at the entrance of the garden, eagerly awaiting the arrival of Rakshas troops. In the inhabitants of Ravana's palace were terrified to hear Hanuman's roar, along with the crash of trees and the cries of frightened animals. The Rakshasas, who had been buried in sleep, woke with a start. They saw Hanuman standing at the gate of the garden like a towering hill. Some of them had already noticed that Sita was speaking to a monkey and they questioned her about his identity. How should I know anything about this wonderful being? She replied, You are the one skilled in sorcery, and magic. Why then can you not ascertain for yourself the nature of this creature? Some of the Rakshas ran in fear to Ravana. They reported to him that the monkey had entirely destroyed the beautiful gardens, leaving only the large Simshapa tree under which Sita lay. Ravana flared up. His eyes blazed, and hot tears fell from them like drops of burning oil from a lamp. He thought for a moment. This attacker was probably a powerful emissary of gods or even Vishnu. No one else would dare assail Lanka. Ravana ordered to select band of Rakshas warriors and Kinkaras to capture Hanuman. 80,000 of them immediately gathered and left for the garden. The massive Rakshasas were endowed with extraordinary might, had large teeth, and had fierce weapons. They rushed in a body towards the Ashoka Grove, keen to lay hold of Hanuman. Seeing the colossal
Correct.
monkey, Hare
Mataji,
Krishna Mataji
Pranam.
Pranam.
Haribol. So, so see, Hanumanji was not very keen in displaying his powers, right? What did he tell Sita Mata? I will take you on my shoulders, and I will take you back to Lord Ram. Right, and Sita Devi was wondering how the small monkey, right? He was just like a small monkey because he was hiding from various places, trying to find out where Mother Sita is. So he's just like a small monkey that we find in Vrindavan, right? So so Sita Devi was astonished. How could I ever climb onto your shoulders? And how would you even take me across? How would you even jump across this ocean? And that's when he shows his power, right? So Hanumanji is not eager to show his power and strength for everybody to glorify, the monkey. Oh, you are so wonderful. You have such great powers, etc. Right? What is Hanuman interested? Hanuman is interested to show the powers only as much as Sita Mata is convinced that he can actually take Sita Mata across the ocean and take her back to Lord Ram. Right? So a devotee is not interested in getting name, fame, glory, because he or she knows that whatever power that a devotee is getting, whether to preach Krishna consciousness or to perform Herculean tasks as devotional service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether it be cooking, whether it be garland making, whether it be uh, deity dressing, or whether it may be making nice dresses for the Lord, whatever seva we're able to do, devotee knows that none of the things can be possible without the causeless mercy of the Lord. Right? So a devotee does not take credit for any of the services done for the pleasure of the Lord, because a devotee knows that it is only by the causeless mercy of the Lord that the Lord has empowered the devotee to perform such services for the pleasure of the Lord. Right? In such an attitude, when one performs devotional service, whether or not that activity is successful or not, I mean, in the sense, we may make some nice boga for the Lord, but sometimes the salt may be extra. Right? Once we offer it to the Lord and then we honor the prasadam, we think, oh my God, there was excess salt. But will the Lord be pleased with such an offering? Yes. If the offering was made with a desire to please the Lord, even though apparently that offering itself is not successful because it is not tasting sweet, or it's tasting salty. Yet the Lord will accept the bhava. The Lord will accept the intention with which the offering has been done, because the success or the failure of that particular service, it lies with the Lord. If the Lord wants to make it a success, it will become a success. It will become very delicious. And if the Lord intends, because whether or not that physical activity is a successful or not. So similarly, when we are going for preaching endeavors, sometimes nobody is there in the class, right? And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, even walls have ears. So you preach for your own purification. So apparently that program is a failure because nobody has turned up for that program. But then it is a success. Why? Because our endeavor in preaching Krishna consciousness is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know that we lack the capacity to be able to convince anybody to take up Krishna consciousness. But if the Lord desires, right, if the Lord is merciful, then the Lord will empower us to perform such tasks by which we will also be able to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. So, in this world of Krishna consciousness, the spiritual consciousness, it is completely opposite the material consciousness. Right? In material consciousness, if there is a birthday party that is thrown and nobody attends the birthday party, that means what happens? The birthday party is a failure, right? Because nobody is attended. But in the spiritual parlance, everything is done for the pleasure of the Lord, and irrespective of the physical success or the failure of that particular activity, that the activity is a success. Why? Because the goal is attained. What is the goal? Sarvam, what is that? Samsiddhir haritoshanam, right? Everything is done for the pleasure of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased by the attitude of the follower. In nectar of instruction, Srila Prabhupada says in the introduction, right? The advancement in Krishna consciousness depends upon the attitude of the follower. As long as our attitude is to serve Guru and Gauranga with all our capacity for their pleasure, right? Irrespective whether that activity is a success or a failure, we should understand that it is a success because we please Krishna by our consciousness, by our desire to serve him. Of course, we have to try to do our best. We have to try to invite as many people as possible. We have to try our level best, and then we have to surrender to the Lord. So here also we see that Hanumanji is doing his best only for the pleasure of the Lord to reunite Lord Ram and Mother Sita, and he has no interest in doing anything else, right? And as he is going to destroy the entire Lanka, like Ravana has understood that Hanuman is there, so he will call so many Rakshasas, and they will all capture Hanumanji, and they will set fire to his tail. What he will do, he'll destroy the entire Lanka with that fire on the tail. And then he will, except for the Ashoka Vatika, the entire place is destroyed. The beautiful place of Lanka is destroyed. Why? Because of one man's greed. And who is that man? He is the king. Right? So if the king or the leader is not having the right intentions, then the entire followers, the entire dynasty, the entire place gets vanquished, just because the leader is not a proper example for the people whom he is leading. So that's why, right? If you are becoming a mother or a father or a leader or a person in a responsible position, if we don't carry out our work properly, then it is like Prabhupada says, a blind man leading another blind man, and they are falling into the ditch, falling into the well, like that. So if we have a responsible position, we have to ensure that we perform our services and we serve as right examples to the people who are following us, to the people whom we are responsible for cultivating, or to the people that we are responsible for delivering, like that. Okay, let's move ahead. Anyone else wants to read? Can raise your hand. Okay, fine. Okay, let me read 2-3 paragraphs, and then anyone else wants to read can also raise your hand. Seeing the colossal monkey, they darted at him like moths toward a flame. They attacked Hanuman with their sharp-edged spears. These are the Rakshasas that Ravana has sent to capture Hanumanji. So let's see how the attack goes. They attacked Hanumanji with their sharp-edged spears, maces, clubs, iron pikes, and scimitars, surrounding him and shouting loudly. Waves of arrows sped towards Hanuman, rushing through the air and sounding like a roaring gale. Hanuman assumed an ever larger form. He lashed the ground with his tail and uttered a great cry. Victory to Ram and Lakshman! I am Hanuman, the son of the wind god, and I am here as Rama's servant. Ramaduta Hanuman, right? He always calls himself that I am the messenger of Lord Ram. I am the servant of Lord Ram. And that should be our consciousness also. Whatever we do, whether we are doing our Swadharma, whether we are doing our Sanatana Dharma, we should know that we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Krishna. Servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Ram. Not even 1,000 Ravanas can withstand me. I shall destroy Lanka and then return to my master. The Kinkaras were struck with fear upon seeing Hanuman's size and hearing his booming voice which shook the earth. They closed in on him in thousands. Hanuman whirled the iron bar and began to strike the demons down. Bounding into the air and tearing through the Rakshasa ranks, Hanuman swiftly annihilated them. He moved like the wind and could hardly be seen by the Rakshasas. In a short time, they were virtually wiped out. A few of them survived and ran back to Ravana. They went back to tell Ravana the news that this monkey, who apparently looks very small, is insurmountable. The Demon King became even more furious. He ordered one of his great generals, Jambumali, to attack Hanuman. The Rakshasa bowed to Ravana and went out for battle, clutching his golden bow. Who's that? Jambumali. One of his great generals, Jambumali. Ravana ordered one of his great generals, Jambumali, to attack Hanuman. The Rakshasa bowed to Ravana and went out for battle, clutching his golden bow. Jambumali mounted a chariot drawn by 100 tall steeds with the heads of friends. He twanged his bowstring, making a sound like thunder, and roaring with anger, raced through the palace gardens. All right, Sudha Mataji, go ahead. Meanwhile, Hanuman had been looking around.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Pranams, Mataji.
Meanwhile, Hanuman had been looking around to see what further destruction he could cause. He saw an enormous temple atop a great hill where the Rakshasas worshipped their guardian deity. He quickly climbed the hill and scaled the side of the temple, which appeared like the sheer face of a mountain. As he went up the wall of the temple, the effulgent Hanuman resembled the rising sun. Repeatedly crying out victory to Rama, he began tearing down the buttresses and large stone arches all around the temple. In minutes, he reduced the entire edifice to a pile of rubble. Hanuman leapt down from the hill and spotted Jambuwali coming towards him. The demon was dressed in crimson robes with a garland of bright red flowers around his neck and a chaplet of red jewels on his head. Large gold earrings shone brightly from his blackish blue pointed ears. He roared loudly and fired 100 long shafts from his bow. Hanuman also roared when he saw the demon. He stood joyfully in front of the bellowing Rakshasa. Jambumalir pierced the monkey all over with his terrible arrows. With one large crescent headed shaft, he struck Hanuman in the mouth, while with a number of barbed arrows, he hit him in his arms and legs. His head, stained with blood, Hanuman looked like a large red lotus in the sky. He was infuriated and he took up an immense boulder, hurling it with tremendous force at Jambumali. The demon laughed and instantly released 10 powerful arrows which smashed the flying rock into fragments. Enraged, Hanuman then uprooted a sal tree and whirled it about. Jambumali again shot his razor sharp arrows and cut the trees to pieces. He continued to pierce Hanuman with more and more arrows. The monkey lost his patience and again took up the great iron rod. No, he took up. No,
Yeah, with which he had slain the Kinkaras.
with, with which he had slain the Kinkaras. With innumerable arrows sticking from his body, he rushed towards the demon. He bounded into the air and came down onto Jambumali's chariot, bringing the rod down onto his skull. Smashed by Hanuman, the demon's head was pressed into his body, which itself was crushed into a shapeless mass. The chariot was shattered, and the demonic donkeys ran here and there, bellowing in fear. Ravana was astounded to hear that Jambumali had been slain. He again ordered 7 more of his generals to go out for battle. The Rakshasa warriors went out to meet Hanuman, shouting in joy, each of them eager to excel the others in battle. They mounted large chariots overlaid with golden armor and decked with banners and flags. Rumbling like thunder clouds, the chariots rushed towards Hanuman. The demons were expert in the use of celestial weapons and they began to release all kinds of missiles at the great monkey. Hanuman leapt into the sky and wheeled about with his arms and legs outstretched. He dodged the arrows and missiles of the Rakshasas, who themselves rose into the sky to fight him. As he sported with the Rakshasas, who each held, as he sported with the Rakshasas, who each held a golden bow, Hanuman looked like the powerful wind god playing among thunderclouds with streaks of lightning. He swept down upon the demons one by one, striking them with his hands and feet. Hanuman killed all of them, and they fell to the ground like mountains struck down by Indra's thunderbolt. Hanuman then descended to earth and stood again at the gateway to the gardens, eager to fight with more demons. The ground was strewn with the bodies of Rakshasas and smashed chariots. Elephants and horses cried in dissonant tones, and blood flowed everywhere. In order to strike terror into the Rakshasas and create dissension among their ranks, Hanuman shouted, "Send out your best fighters, Ravana. They will meet the same fate as these here. I am Hanuman, servant of Rama. Soon millions of monkeys like myself will arrive here accompanied by Rama himself. What use is your fighting? Release Sita now and restore her to Rama." Ravana decided that Hanuman could not possibly be a monkey. Surely he was a divine being created by the gods. The demon had seen some mighty Vanaras, but this one seemed extraordinarily powerful. Still, surely he could be vanquished. Ravana and his warriors had overcome the gods themselves. It should not be too difficult to overpower this monkey, whoever he may be. Ravana summoned 5 more exceptionally powerful leaders of his army. Encouraging them by praising their strength and skill in battle, he sent them out to capture Hanuman. He had to find out who this monkey was and why he had come to Lanka. But one after another, Hanuman slew the Rakshasa generals. He struck down the first 3 with his thunderbolt like fist. The other 2 then assailed Hanuman from his 2 sides, hurling their fierce weapons with great force. Hanuman, who himself looked like a mountain, tore off the top of the nearby hill, complete with his beasts, snakes, and trees. Soaring upwards with that great crag, he brought it down upon the 2 demons and completely crushed them. Hanuman then began slaying thousands of other Rakshasas who were gathered there. He killed warriors by striking them with other warriors, elephants with other elephants, and horses with horses. The ground was covered with ellipses. Hanuman appeared like the time spirit bent upon the destruction of all created beings. Ravana considered the situation. This being was formidable. He had wiped out a number of near invincible Rakshasa chiefs. Nevertheless, how could anyone ever defeat Ravana? That was impossible. Admittedly, the goddess Lanka had previously come screaming to him, speaking of his imminent destruction, but Ravana was still confident. If necessary, he himself would deal with the monkey, but first let him contend with Ravana's powerful sons. That should take care of him. Ravana turned to Prince Aksha, who sat by his side. Spurred on by his father's glance, Aksha rose from his seat and went out for the battle. He mounted his golden chariot, which shone like the sun. It was yoked to 8 celestial steeds, all as swift as thought. A large red standard, studded with bright gems, flew from a bejeweled pole. Rows of fierce lances and javelins were arranged arranged alongside numerous quivers of razor-headed arrows. 8 long and terrible-looking swords were fastened to the sides of the chariot in silver scabbards emblazoned with golden moons and stars. Urging on his steeds, Aksha rose above the ground and swept toward the gardens, accompanied by thousands of other demons on elephants, horses, and chariots. The Rakshasa prince arrived before Hanuman in a few moments. He paused for a moment to assess his opponent's strength. Aksha was awestruck to see the mountainous monkey standing ready for combat. Hanuman looked to him like the blazing fire of universal dissolution. But the prince was accomplished in battle and he felt no fear. He gazed at Hanuman with his large red eyes, which resembled those of a lion. Aksha drew his great bow to his full length and sent 3 powerful arrows towards the monkey. The arrow struck Hanuman's head and he bled profusely, giving him the appearance of the newly risen sun. Hanuman, his eyes bulging in indignation, looked down at the Rakshasa. Aksha wore a breastplate which seemed to be made entirely from gems. It shone so brightly. His golden armlets flashed while he worked his beautiful ornate bow. As he assailed Hanuman, Aksha seemed like a dark cloud covered by a rainbow, pouring a shower of flaming arrows onto a large mountain. Seeing an opportunity to again display his prowess for Rama's cause, Hanuman roared in joy and sprang into the air. He darted about, evading Aksha's arrows with the speed of the wind. Aksha's chariot followed him through the air like an elephant approaching a large covered well. The prince continuously fired his deadly weapons at Hanuman, who wheeled about like a firebrand. Witnessing the fearful encounter between the Vanara and the Rakshasa, the gods were amazed. The sun grew dim, the wind ceased blowing, and the sky echoed with loud shrieks. Even the sea convulsed and the Trikuta mountain shook. Hanuman considered that the prince was a worthy opponent, although only a boy. The Rakshasa was growing in strength as he fought. He struck to Hanuman wherever the monkey flew and pierced him with razor shaped uh, razor sharp arrows. Hanuman became more and more infuriated and he made up his mind to kill Aksha. Suddenly turning as he was pursued by the prince, Hanuman struck the 8 steeds with his palms and killed them outright. As his chariot descended to the earth, Aksha rose up into the air, holding his bow and sword. He resembled an effulgent rishi who had quit his body through yoga and was ascending to the realm of the gods. As the prince flew through the sky, Hanuman met him and took hold of his 2 legs. Spinning him around violently, the monkey swiftly descended from the air and dashed him to the ground. With his bones smashed and body bathed in blood, Aksha fell dead. Hosts of rishis, yakshas, and nagas who ranged the stellar sphere had gathered in the body in the canopy of the sky to watch the conflict. Observing Hanuman's stupendous feat in killing Aksha, they applauded and rained down celestial flowers. Ravana was filled with.
Thank you, Mataji. We'll end
Hare
here.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Haribol. Thank you, Dandavat Pranam. So in this way, we see that the entire the group of Rakshasas, whoever was sent by Ravana, they were all being disposed of by Hanumanji single-handedly. Right. So in this way, what did he was feeling so much of pleasure while he was actually destroying the demons. Why? Not for his own glory, but to actually be able to get the opportunity to serve Lord Ram. That was the pleasure of Hanumanji. So it's a very important lesson for us also, right? Whenever we are given some service We should take up that service with great joy, right? Anybody can do that service, but by the causeless mercy of Guru and Gauranga, I have got that opportunity to serve, and we should take up that seva with a genuine desire to please our gurus, following the instruction of our gurus. And when we are doing that, that is the real ego, right? But to be every time when Hanuman um, shouts in the topmost voice, I am the servant of Lord Ram. That is real ego, right? Jivera Swarupe Krishna Nitya Das. When we understand that I am the servant of the Lord, and we having the pride of being the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is real ego. But when we think that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the owner, oh, this is mine, aham mameti, then we are fools, because we are not understanding the constitutional position of the jiva being the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Grantraj Shri Ramayana ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai. We'll quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. I'd request devotees to switch on your cameras if possible, and we'll end in about 3-4 minutes. रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम सीताराम जय सीताराम सीताराम जय सीताराम सीताराम जय सीताराम सीताराम जय सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निरंतरा श्री रामायण की जय। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण शत्रुघ्न हनुमान जी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। So thank you devotees. We'll meet you all at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning as we start the Shikshashtakam prayers, and then we'll continue with the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And the next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, we'll meet again on Monday at 1:15 p.m. as we continue with the study of Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. श्रीमद रामायण की जय। श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेम।